There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. See with new eyes, allow and unfold. Embrace and let go. Trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you. All that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, we unite. Yeah, yeah, when we unite. Yeah, yeah. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. Thank you all for braving the rain and coming out. You know it's going to be cold tomorrow? Have you heard that? Yes, the rain is bringing in a little chilly weather, so thanks for coming. I'm Reverend Cindy Grimes. We have a few first-time visitors. Raise your hand if you're here for the very first time today. Fabulous. First time today. All right. You got me, Elaine. All right. So everyone welcome. So we've changed up our order of things a little bit. I'm going to just go ahead and do some announcements of what's coming up and what you can expect here. Our Science of Mind magazine is available. The newsletter hopefully will be out by the end of the week, so you'll get the calendar and what's coming up for the month of March. And You always have the opportunity to rent a slide. Yes, Amora, tell everybody that they can rent the slide if you have a business or you've got an event or something you would like to have up here. They're scrolling before service, so it's a great way to get your business and your stuff out there. So let's see what we've got going on here. Weekend of Love with John Moore and Amy Steinberg. That is coming up in March, that second Sunday in March, yes? Or is it the first? No, that's not right. First Sunday, yes. So the 7th, there is a concert with Amy. And then on Sunday, there will be a service with the three of us, and then a workshop. How many of you have done family constellations? It's an amazing workshop, isn't it? Yes, it is really just, it can be a life-changing thing for you. So I highly recommend people stay and do the workshop. This other one is actually happening this weekend, so too late to join that one, but let's see. And then next week, next Saturday, we've got a workshop with Natasha Musser, who spoke here about a month ago, talking about our language and how our language kind of shows where we are in our lives, and how to use your language to help kind of create the experience that you want to have, how important it is, the things that we say, and as a creative aspect in our lives. Then we've got a seafood boil that is a fundraiser for our Joyful Expressions group that is going to be going to Pazzi later this year. Seafood boil, how many of you done the seafood boil before? It's awesome, isn't it? At your Phoenix is Rising with Donna and Norma. So if you're interested in that, you get your ticket ahead of time. Let's see. And then this, I don't know, Pam, do you want to talk about this at all?
Yes, I can. We will be having the soft opening. Is it on? Okay. We will be having a soft opening to the hub from 2 to 6 on the 28th after that workshop. We will be having a 30-minute sound bath by me, truly me, Root and Rise Pam. And then Sarah Brown will be doing Qigong and yoga. And then we'll be having something similar to a static dance after that. And we will have about 15 vendors, and it's all on a sliding scale for the classes to come in. And between $15 for adults to $5 for kids.
All right. That's going to be big fun, y'all. Come here after Natasha's workshop, or come and do her workshop and stay for the afternoon and enjoy all the festivities. And hopefully we'll have the back area of the building set up for the hub. So do y'all know what the hub is that is coming here? We are turning our space during the week into a collaborative workspace, so people can come, instead of sitting in Starbucks and meeting their clients there, they can come meet their clients here and use the kitchen and have use of the conference area. And it's really exciting time for us in our expansion and growth and letting folks know who we are in the community. So come and support this event next Saturday. Let's see, volunteer opportunities. We always have volunteer opportunities here. There was a group of folks here yesterday. Raise your hand, Vinny. Everybody who was out here yesterday, yes. There were folks here for the workshop. There were folks working on the garden out there. It was great fun. We've got a whole new irrigation system in our container gardens, and it was beautiful. And thank you to everybody who came out here yesterday. They were here for hours, literally, like all day. We were in the workshop. I think Daniel left at 6 o'clock. Yeah, like all day. All right, so that is all of our announcements. And Center for Spiritual Living Ocala, this is what we are about. Our mission is that we embody and share truth principles and spiritual practices that allow us to awaken to that power and presence that some people call God, some people call universe, some people don't even give it a name. We just know that we are part of something bigger than us. And helping people to really take that in. In some traditions, it's almost heresy to say that, isn't it? Right? But we say that this thing we call God is right here in the seat where you are sitting, because we are each the expression of the divine. The eyes and ears and mouth and feet and hands of spirit itself. And that's a pretty amazing thing, isn't it? Yeah, I see some folks going, yeah, it is. And so our vision is that we are a thriving New Thought community dedicated to spiritual growth and practice and the transformative love that reveals our interconnectedness and oneness. And so what that says to me is just a reminder that we are part of a global movement. I know we're this beautiful little gem right here in Ocala, and it is a treasure, but we are part of a much larger organization that is indeed worldwide. And I think we have some friends here from Unity. So Unity and Centers for Spiritual Living are like, kissing cousins. We're sister organizations, or whatever you want to call it. We teach the same thing, just from a little bit different angle. Unity calls themselves Christianity, where we don't. We just are open for all of it. And so we are a thriving New Thought community dedicated to spiritual growth and practice, sacred activism, and the transformative love that reveals our oneness. And what we mean by sacred activism, it is the interconnection or the intersection between consciousness and action. So it's like going beyond thoughts and prayers, right? Like we give it feet, right? We do the thing. We are living this teaching everywhere we go. It's not just words for us. And these are our values, and if you want to say them, you can say them along with me. Wholeness of spirit, spiritual and personal growth, collaborative, synergistic community, abundance and prosperity, love and compassion, appreciation and gratitude, peace and balance, the power of freedom, diversity and inclusion, and generosity. Very good, very good. And so this morning, we have a special speaker here. I'm not speaking today, but I have a wonderful friend who I met through the center, started coming here. I found out that she has this amazing center in Dunellen that is the Inner Transformation Center. And she is an acupuncture physician. She is an intuitive healer. She put hands on me, and this woman told me things about me that nobody else knew. And it kind of blew my mind a little bit. But I thought, well, this is somebody I would like to, you want to use this instead. So this is somebody I want to get to know better. And she's been doing acupuncture on me for several months now. And I'm feeling pretty good. Lost some pounds. It's, good stuff. So she is going to be sharing about her life and forgiveness today, which is really good considering what we've been talking about here, right? And taking accountability for ourselves. You spot it, you got it. Were you all here last week? We talked about that. Brings up some stuff and also some things for us to release and let go of so that we can live our best and fullest lives. So Theresa Stepanov, come on down. And thank you for being here.
You're welcome. So I think an important component of forgiveness is forgiving yourself, which we forget a lot of times. Thank you. That we forget ourselves in the equation when it's forgiveness. So I just started with the basics, and at the end of it, I'm going to teach you a couple of techniques that will help the subconscious mind. Because sometimes what happens is we've forgiven on a conscious level, but our subconscious still carries that guilt or that resentment or that anger, and it's not completely released. So, and the way you know that is it affects your behavior. So some things, especially things that happen with parents, that if you're a parent, you're bound to make a mistake with your kid. And and it leaves a mark. So it affects you, the way your character becomes in the future affects what happened in your past. And that's something that sometimes, especially with things that parents do to you, it's especially at a certain age, adolescence in particular, it stays with you. It stays with you through your lifetime, and it's hard to release. And a lot of people are not even aware of it. But if you analyze your actions or what triggers you, what makes you angry, those are things that usually have a root base from the past for many different reasons. So I was supposed to do it that way, but it worked anyway. So what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is a conscious decision. And, it's slowly, okay. A release of resentment, anger, a release of guilt too. A return to the inner balance. So when you've released all the things that are bothering you, or things, I'm not saying that you're going to be happy-go-lucky 24/7, but when you release those things, you become more balanced. You become your inner peace. You're more whole. You're more at peace with yourself. And it's an act of strength, not of weakness. People think, oh, if you forgive, you're weak. No, it's an act of strength. Okay, so why forgiveness matters? These are the things that it causes. When you hold resentments, there's more stress in your life. It increases. Oops. Okay. Emotional wounds aren't healed. They're long-lasting. And when we forgive, then the body relaxes, and there's more energy that flows to you, and you become more available for growth. Okay, analyzing what we need to let go of. That's a big one. What should we let go of? Hurt. So I want you now, that's why I had the papers. I was thinking that some people might need more than one paper by the time this is through. But, so hurt, I want you to write down things that hurt you from the past. It doesn't matter how long ago, it could have been from when you were, little, as far back as you could remember. But just write down something, this is all part of releasing, something that has hurt you, or someone that has hurt you. It could be a situation, too, that's hurt you. So those are things that you hold within you, and they create blocks, energetic blocks, emotional blocks. It stops you from growing spiritually. Yeah, okay, all right. Then betrayal. So if you had a friend, that's an example. If you had a friend that, backstabbed you or anything similar to that, there's bound to be some kind of betrayal in your life. So that's another one. If you had something that you feel was a sense of betrayal, or you had a spouse that cheated on you, or all of those things, betrayal. And this is just so that you could be aware of things that you need to release and things that you need to process and work on. Okay, fear. Who doesn't have fear? Fear of something. So write that down too. Whatever you're afraid of, that also needs to be released. And there's, like I said, we are going to work on releasing it on a subconscious level. Not just conscious, but also subconscious. Shame. Everyone's felt ashamed of something at some point. So what are you ashamed of? Negative beliefs. So that includes religious beliefs, because sometimes, for example, I went to Catholic school, so they always said, oh, you're a sinner, you have to go to confession and things like that. And it didn't even make sense to me when I was a kid. So if you're, because I asked them, I said, well, isn't God everywhere? Isn't he loving and forgiving? And if God is that way, why am I a sinner if God forgives everything? It didn't even make sense. So they instill, sometimes religions instill beliefs, negative beliefs in you, that you're not worth it, or you have to be a certain way, and that's not necessarily the case. And those things are carried on in your subconscious and in your conscious mind.
Theresa,
Sure.
what shows up when you're looking at your clients, people that are coming into you? How do you see this?
Okay.
When people are coming in to see you with various aches and pains and ailments and stuff,
Right.
how do you feel like forgiveness or lack thereof
It
shows up?
reflects in many different ways. Sometimes the pain in your lower back or the pain in your butt is because you haven't forgiven someone. The pain in your neck is someone that's bothering you, that's annoying you. So it reflects on a physical way. You know, it's related, and I'm going to teach you a little technique to release that if anybody here has any kind of discomfort or pain. There's a way, it's connected to an emotional. So how are things created? It's a thought first, then that thought turns into an emotion, and that emotion is carried into a physical effect. So it could be that your headache it's stress. So what happened to create that headache? People were annoying you, or you're under pressure, you're under stress, and then you got the headache. It turned into something physical. So it's all connected, it's all related. And loss, so loss is not just grieving. People think that, oh, loss, okay, I lost, a person or, an animal or something. But it's more than that. If you lose a job, if you lose companionship, if you lost your home, or if you lost your pencil, it's still a loss. Loss is loss, and loss needs to be processed and grieved, or something that you're really used to, like a circumstance or a living situation, something that you're constantly used to, and all of a sudden it's changed and it's abrupt. That's a loss. It still needs to be processed. Okay, so forgiveness begins when we allow ourselves to feel. You have to feel it. And I have a whole formula later on that explains the process of releasing it. Okay, things that prevent you from forgiveness. Judgment. If you have judgment, you're not going to be able to forgive, because you have a bias over something. So I don't know if you have any examples. Anybody want to give an example of how judgment obstructed them? No? Quiet group? Or, feel free to ask any questions if you want in the meantime. Did you have a question?
No, I have an example.
Okay, good.
I'm of a similar belief that you are, practicing emotion code and things similar. And so when I'm around somebody that believes in the germ theory, which is a very common thing that people still believe in, and it's something they will stand on, instead of finding that root cause, then because I'm biased to my perception
Right.
of it, I found that it flips over backwards, and that I end up hurting myself because I have put up that wall of not being able. The word forgiveness, to me, it makes me think about separating it. Forgive them room to be themselves. And so sometimes if I'm being judgy and being like, no, I know I'm right, and I know I'm right. Well, I'm only right for me. So I have to forgive them room to be them.
Right. And everyone has a process that they go through, and the thing that we forget is that we're all human and it's all okay. So it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you do it. And we're all going to end up in the same place anyway. It's all a collective consciousness. So, it doesn't matter if you do it slower, or you believe this or you believe that, and it's their process. It's fine. That's hard. It's hard for people not to say, oh, well, that person could be doing this or whatever, judge others. In part of, ascension actually is non-judgment. So, yeah, go ahead.
I would say that
Hold on.
you don't get your steps in today. I would say that along with judgment is measuring. That you measure against what others are doing based on your personal perception of things. Well, I'm doing it this way, and they should also do it, this way, because I know what's best for them, right? So you measure and judge at the same time.
Right. You have to release that. And those are things that you need to that prevent you from being able to release it.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
We talked about last week this idea of it's on accountability, and if you spot it, you got it. So taking those things when people really, really push your buttons, that it's really saying more about you. It's not on. How about now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you spot it, you got it. Somebody really, really gets on your nerves, really pushes your buttons. It's not as much about them as it is a mirror for you. So we take those things, those moments, and lean into it with some curiosity and say, wow, maybe there's something about me that I need to learn in this situation. And sometimes it's not a direct mirror, but more like a funhouse mirror, like it's a little bit warped. You know, there's something in here, but there's something in it for you. There can be, potentially. And not just the bad stuff, too, or also the good, but we're focusing on the things that are more heavy, you know, and more difficult, because that's the stuff that's going to show up in your system. That's the stuff that's going to keep you small and repeating patterns that don't serve you. So when that person gets on your nerves or that situation sets you off, that's the moment to take some time and go, okay, what is this saying about me? And not shooting on people, right? Shooting on people is not like polite. So instead of saying he, she, they should do something, you flip it and you go, well, what could I do? Right? Maybe there's something I can do differently. So instead of shooting, we could.
Right. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
What triggers you reveals you.
Yes, what triggers
triggers
you
you
reveals
reveals
you. Yes, thank you, Elaine.
Okay. So it also low self-esteem is another thing that prevents you from releasing it. Like, so you're not worthy of it, or in the case of abuse, that you know, it creates low self-esteem, and then you're not able to let things go. So anybody else have some other thoughts on that?
Thank you.
I think it is on.
Hello?
Yeah.
Are we on? All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. In my experience, I have found, for a good example, the way that I dress. I have come into the way that I dress recently, like in the past couple of years, and I would find that when I would be looking at people and I would be thinking negative things about the way that they dress, I would recognize that I feel unsafe if I dress like that, and that there is something that may have happened to me. Like, what is it that happened to me that made me think that way? If I can release that, then I can just exist. And then you can also look at them and, like, they're perfectly safe existing, dressing the way they're dressing. How can I feel safe dressing the way that they're dressing? And that's my experience with judgment in the most recent.
I had someone that was under hypnosis, and they discovered that they were physically abused, but when they were a child, and they had completely blocked it out, had no conscious awareness of it at all. And it was something that happened like early on in life. And well, the way I help them process it is to let them go through it without the emotion and see it, and then they have to work on it from there. But sometimes things happen to us subconsciously and we block it. You know, I've had car accidents and a whole bunch of things, and I don't remember half of the stuff that I've gone through. So, you know, like our body or our mind blocks the trauma when it is a trauma. I've dealt with a lot of people with that too. Okay, so next. Guilt. Guilt is another thing that, and even when things are done to us, we feel guilty that we weren't able to stop it, or whatever. If there's many examples, you know, if you get mugged, sometimes you feel guilty that you weren't able to do something to prevent that. So that's another part of, you know, not being able to process things. It stops you from that. Anybody? Feel free to join in if you have some comments or something that.
I have a question. So obviously we know what the term is called when we block trauma. It's trauma blocking. But what is the term when, for instance, a child's brain does the exact opposite? They block out every good memory and only remember the traumatic events. Is there a term for that, and how do you deal with those instances?
That's a good question.
Because I personally am like that. I don't have very good memories of my childhood. All I remember are the very
bad.
bad, horrible things.
Yeah. Most people, that's what they remember, is the bad things. So it's a typical reaction. We don't remember, like, there's good moments, unless it was really, really good, it's not going to stick with you. Your mind, and it's a normal thing. It's not, you're not abnormal. You're absolutely normal. Most people only remember the bad. Those are the things that mostly stick out when you look back at your life. Unless it was something like, oh my God, I won the Emmy Award or an Oscar or something like that. Those you remember, the big goods. But the little goods, they tend to. That's
Yeah.
why they do the news the way
Right.
they do, all the negative stuff, because that's what sticks with people.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that are able to trauma block, and I just have never been one of those people. So, as common as you make it sound, it also is just as rare to find those people. It's a very, I feel like, equal mashup of how people perceive and interpret things and what they're willing to do to continue to survive.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think, well, I know that our physiology has a negative bias because we're wired for survival. So those things that happen to us that threaten us, become bigger, I think, in our perception and our awareness, because our physiology, is designed to keep us safe. So it wants to make sure that you never have that experience again, or you see it coming, you can head it off at the pass, right?
And our
Did you- we
physiology
have one in here.
remembers too.
Yes, body keeps the
The
score,
cells,
right?
exactly. The cells have memory, so they remember those things.
So I think I have a possible answer to your question from a spiritual perspective. We learn from those things that we need to correct in our lives. We don't learn so much from the things that go well. We learn from the things that don't go well better than we learn from the things that do, right? So it's opportunity. And you can change your mindset into thinking, we put the connotation to it. Good, bad, in, out, up, down, right? So I think that if you change the terminology tied to the event and use a different terminology and consider it, oh, here's an opportunity for me to do something different, and then you begin to transform your thinking into using those things that perhaps aren't going well in your life to things that you're grateful for, those things that show up because they provide you with opportunities, right? To put the correction in and to grow.
Thank you. Yes, and I know Cassie had her hand too.
Gratitude, the attitude of gratitude, that's huge.
That is
That's
huge.
the thing. So I find when people are having trouble seeing the good in their life or seeing the good in their past, like just in general, I have them write down at least one new thing every day to be grateful for. And you'd be shocked how hard that is for people to do. And I'm like, are you grateful for your house? Are you grateful, that you have children? And then, so the thing is that if you're doing one every day that's new, you're going to run out all of that the stuff that everybody thinks of, right? And then you can actually purposely apply it to your past. So the more often, the more you're grateful, the more you see things to be grateful for, because where focus goes, energy flows, right? So if you're walking around going, wow, this is beautiful, and I'm seeing all these things I'm grateful for all the time, and then you can widen that out to apply to specific people and circumstances, and I found that that's huge. It's usually, it's a good way to start anyways. There's obviously so much more.
No, okay, so anger also prevents you from moving on and moving forward. Oh, she wanted to say, yeah.
Yes, as a trauma-informed therapist doing this work for like almost 30 years and being a trauma survivor has been a big topic. And one thing that a lot of times I notice, it's multi-generational trauma, right? So we are not just dealing with our own trauma, but also multi-generational trauma, right? I mean, they did study in epigenetics. I remember there was one woman who had everything, and she still didn't know why she's constantly anxious, because her parents were in Auschwitz, but they never spoke about it. So we know now how this trauma gets even embedded, right? So sometimes it doesn't belong to us, so that's
Right.
also not a thought.
And sometimes it's from past lifetimes, too.
In past life.
I've had that happen. A gentleman that I worked with, he always had this, and it turned into physical, always had a pain, like a stabbing pain in his heart. And it wasn't anything physical. I mean, he did all kinds of tests, and when we went back, it turns out he was a Roman soldier, and he was speared in the heart, and his memory, his cells, still carried that trauma of being speared, and, it needed to be released. So he had to go back to the origin, to the place that it happened, relive it, and release it. Yeah, it was cool, though. There was somebody over there that...
So I find myself being very angry over my best friend. We've known each other since middle school. And it's a very strong bond. Her family was my family and vice versa. But she married someone that I told her everything that I knew about him. He was cheating on her left and right. And they had broken up at the time, and I had knew it before, and my mother had warned me. She said, don't say anything, you're going to lose her as a friend, because she's going to believe whatever, They broke up. I felt so guilty, because I didn't warn her, who this guy was. And they were apart for about a year, and then she gets back to him. She comes back to me with the silliest response that he gave her. She believed him, she married him, and now she's not a happy person. And I find it really hard, because I'm angry at her. I see her pain, but I can't console her because I'm angry.
Yeah. Everyone has their own process to go through, and that's what we have to also understand, that she has her own. It's hard to watch, especially when it's someone that you care about. Hard to watch them go through that. Like, for example, like my daughter, in a relationship, she asked me, and I didn't say anything. But if you don't say anything, they get mad at you because you didn't say anything. And if you do say something, it doesn't work anyway. So the best thing is not to judge her for what she's doing. You could support her and give her all the love. And if they ask you, and if they want your advice and they want your comfort, then you could step in. But otherwise than that, you need to let them live their life, go through their process, learn their lessons. There's a reason why she's attached to that person. And sometimes we forget that we have what I call red masters. So people that are not good for you, but they're there serving a purpose for you, helping you learn things. Like she said before, you think of it as or she said actually, an opportunity. She has an opportunity to grow and to, go through her own process, especially with mothers with children. It's hard to let them go, and it's hard for them to, to see them going through whatever they're going through and not get involved, it's really hard to do. And like I said, especially if someone that you really care about. But it's their process. It's their life. They have to go through that. You have to understand that and just be supportive of them if they need you and if they ask you. If they don't ask you to, then, let it be. But if they ask you to get involved, okay, to what extent then also? To the extent that you're not hurting yourself. So I know what you're talking about. It's kind of hard to do. But that anger issue also doesn't help you. So you're hurting yourself in the process. You got to let the anger go, and you just have to, you send them love. There's other things that, little techniques that I've taught people to also, reverse that, but that's another story for another day. That's a little bit longer. Anger, what's the next one?
So one of the things that really helped me was Mel Robbins recently, relatively speaking, came out with a book called Let Them.
Mm-hmm.
And some people here, I guess, have read it, and the general consensus, I think, is that it's worthwhile, right? Behind anger is fear, frustration, or hurt, right? And we can see you hurt. But try taking a look at that book. It may shed a different perspective for you.
There's
You just triggered my mind for a second, and a friend from heaven told me that it is very important for me to piggyback off of you and say this. There's a saying that we used to have, and thank God I have it recorded on video because I would never want to forget this. She was so special to me. But a saying that us girls had was, if they want to come, let them. They want to go, let them. You gots to be happy. Let's go! Miss her so much.
okay. Oh.
My experience around all of this stuff has been when you live that trauma, whatever it happens to be, over and over and over again, you reach a point where you realize that the emotional destruction that you're doing to yourself can only be resolved by one thing, and that is changing your own outlook and how you feel about it. And letting those things go, let them be, whatever terminology you find will help you through that. But the only person we can change is us. And when we recognize that and we actually go through that releasing process, whether it's through counseling, and there's different layers of it. There's the emotional part, there's the mental part, there's the spiritual part. And once you get beyond that and you can let those situations grow into whatever those situations are supposed to be for that individual, for that person, and you have let go of that, there is such a tremendous sense of relief. And the pressure is no longer on you. And I went through a number of situations in the past few years. The biggest one was going through the whole COVID thing and the vaccinations. And I just couldn't understand why people wanted to put this poison in their bodies. And I was on the warpath trying to make sure everybody knew that, this was not something they should be doing. And so finally, after 2 years of doing that, I'm like, not my monkey, not my circus. So, and the relief from realizing that I can't change anybody but me.
There you go. Okay, so we had fear also stops you from doing a lot of things. And rigid thinking, so maintaining an open mind to everything. helps a lot. Lack of closure, that's a big one. You need closure. So if you have something that you haven't had closure with, write it down. Okay. And the body remembers unresolved experiences. So if you haven't resolved it, it manifests itself in one way or another. It could manifest itself as a nervous tic. It could be, like I said, a pain. It could be a pain in your shoulder, in your arm, in your knees. But it starts with the mind and then eventually turns into something physical. Okay. Who to forgive? Yourself. That's the most important thing. It restores self-respect, breaks cycles of guilt. Forgiving others releases emotional attachments. Did you have something to say on that?
No, you're getting there.
Okay. Okay. The consequences of not forgiving, they're huge. So there's an emotional component to it, a psychological, and a physical effect. So it increases anger, chronic depression, anxiety. Those are the results of not letting things go on an emotional level. On a psychological level, it impairs relationships, feeling stuck. So it blocks, it creates blocks, not just emotional or psychological blocks, but also physical in the sense of energetic blocks. I've seen a lot of that, like people's energies gets blocked because of an emotion. Or even overthinking. Overthinking things, overanalyzing things also creates blocks. Okay? Poor judgment, it creates poor judgment when you don't release things. Resistance to change. On the physical level, it's stress and fatigue. So if you're always judging things, if you're always stressing yourself out, fatigue, you're going to be run down. And you're going to be all blocked. Nothing's going to be flowing. Nothing's going to be working for you. This is an example, also a case where a woman came to me and her husband had passed away. He really mistreated her and she was still angry at him, really pissed off. So she was trying to sell her house. She couldn't get a job. Everything was blocked. And I know in this session I told her, what you need to do is forgive him. That's what's holding you back. That's what's holding your whole life back. And once she did that, I think it was 2 weeks later, she called me up and she said, I sold my house, I got a job in New York, and everything was completely 360. But that's what she needed to do. She needed to forgive her husband. Even though he had already, passed away, he could still hear her. He could still connect with her. So, that's a big deal. People they think that because you're not physically here, you're disconnected. No, we're all still connected. We're all souls. It's all still there.
My problem's Ken. Unforgiving, I just have an interesting thing that just happened to me recently. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was in a relationship with kind of an abusive woman. She got me to fall in love with her, but then she got real abusive. And so I don't see her anymore. But, and I do this work all the time, and I kept, and I get it. It was about forgiving me for letting her do it,
Right.
I got all that, but I still had this thing.
It's subconscious. That's why.
Nah. Well, the subconscious told me what the problem was. Wasn't the forgiving I had to do. I still loved her. I was just trying to do the work one day, and all of a sudden it went, you love her. And I'm like, oh. And now it's gone. But I didn't, I was just so angry and just couldn't let go of it. Because I was trying to let go of the wrong thing. I didn't need to forgive her. I just needed to realize I still loved her. and I can let her go
Right.
now.
Good,
I'm
good
not
for
going
you.
back, I'm not going back to the abuse. But I did love her, and I do love her, and I just had to let that go. So it wasn't forgiving, it was, I had to realize.
Well, acknowledging it.
Yeah, I had to acknowledge
That's
I was
part
still
of
in
what's
love.
in there
Yeah,
later.
yeah, it's
You're ahead of me.
I'm ahead of you.
I wanted to add that emotion is energy in motion, right? And there are no bad emotions. All of them are there to give you information. And if you get stuck saying, I don't get angry, or I'm not going to cry, or I'm not going to allow this energy to flow, it gets stuck,
gets
like
stuck.
she's saying. So whatever you have to do to release it, whether it's writing your forgiveness letter and burning it, go out and, or, I don't know, pound on a bag. What do you call those, heavy bags or something like that, Take up a sport, a punching bag. I mean, do something to get it out of your system and get that energy flowing and moving. And it doesn't mean that you're letting them off the hook, right?
Right.
It's not about that. It's just about getting it out of your
Out
body
of you.
and your
It's
system.
off of you. The
Yes.
monkey is off your back.
Exactly.
There we go. Okay, so here you are, steps. You have to recognize first the acknowledgement. That's part of releasing. If you don't acknowledge it, it's not going to be let go of. Okay? Then you have to accept what you can't change. It is what it is. It happened, it happened. Okay? Separate the event from your identity. And then consciously disconnect the emotion. Consciously and subconsciously, you need to disconnect the emotion also. Okay, neutralize the negative emotion. So once you neutralize it, you no longer feel like, oh, that pain when you think about it, or that anger when you think about it, the resentment, when that's neutralized, then you can move forward. And then compassion. You have to look at people as souls, and souls are pure, and souls are love. We're all part of the one being, which is unconditional love. So if you see people as souls, and you see them with that unconditional love, then you could also move forward. So compassion to yourself, because you're part of the equation, and to others.
I want to say something about the number 3, separating the event from your identity. Right? So then, at the bottom of that emotional scale is shame. And shame is like the worst thing that we can feel. And everybody has it, right? It's on these lists because these are universal emotions. So if you're sitting there feeling ashamed about something, that happened to you or whatever, just know that you are just a human being, just like everybody else, right? But the difference between shame and guilt is a little step up from shame, is that not that I am bad or I'm broken, is that I did something wrong, right? It's not about your identity. And that's the difference. That's what that's saying, is separating the thing that happened from what it's saying about you, or what you're making it mean.
About, yeah.
Yeah.
As a human being.
Yes.
My name is Casey. I also work similarly to you. It sounds like a lot of my clients, I approach them the same way. Something that is really interesting, the number 3 step that Cindy just brought up is one of the most important, because if we are by grace an unconditionally loved being,
right,
and we put walls around that for ourselves, then that's what caused trauma. Trauma being a discordant belief that you have about yourself after a traumatic event. Now, in order to release that trauma, we separate it from ourselves and we go, oh wait, I am not mad, I'm experiencing mad, or I'm having mad, and now I'm not having mad anymore. But have you ever been walking down the street and you share a smile with somebody and you can literally watch the progress of your energy exchange, because then they will share a smile with somebody else and you can watch that change. Something I think that's beautiful in releasing of trauma is that one of the ways that you can tell that you've accomplished forgiveness, or that you've accomplished the releasing of that bad feeling, so to say, is that you'll witness it in somebody else. And you can guarantee that 72 hours after seeing her as a professional or seeing somebody like myself, you will experience it 3 times that are palpable and visible. You will watch somebody else act out that anger or act out that forgiveness if you're wanting to forgive, and then you'll see it on TV or you'll hear it in a song or you'll read a Hallmark card or something, and you'll have a chance to pick it back up again and make it part of your identity because that's been your practice. It's easier to look at the stuff that isn't going right that we talk about. It's easier to look sometimes at other people's stuff that's not going right, because now I don't have to look at any of my stuff. But our hardest job is to jump back into that river of well-being and not eddy around the things that are going on wrong. But when you see it in the other people, find appreciation for it, because it does have a purpose, whether it be anger, grief, shame, that kind of thing. But yeah, so finding gratitude in it and remembering that we share it.
Yeah. And choose to release. You have to consciously and subconsciously choose to let it go. It's all good. Let it go. I wanted to add this about the human experience because what it does, what we're here for. We're all here to grow on different levels, emotionally, besides physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, to conquer challenges, spiritual transformation. That's what this life is all about. If not, we wouldn't even be here. This is about growth. So, like we were talking about, someone mentioned before, if everything was good all the time, we wouldn't grow. We would have nothing to compare it to, and we have no challenges in life. You don't grow. You're on vacation, but you don't grow, which is nice sometimes too. Okay. And it's a collective experience. We're all here as a community. We're all here to help each other. We're all here to share our energy, to share our love. And we all make mistakes. We forget that we're part of the human experience is to make mistakes and to learn from them. I think I put hopefully learn, because some people don't and they get caught in patterns, negative patterns, but we're all here to learn, and it's okay. You can make mistakes. It's all good. Go ahead.
I know there's a workshop coming up about language, and words are extremely powerful. A dear friend of mine, and eventually some of you will meet her. Her name is the Reverend Bonnie Crozier. Used to say, or I guess still does, but when she was raising her children, that there are no mistakes, just consequences for actions. And that really hit home for me.
I want to say, I have found, I think that the people who are the harshest, the most unforgiving, are holding a lot of unforgiveness of themselves.
Right.
So it really does start with having compassion for ourselves. And when we can remember that we're human and we all make mistakes and we give ourselves forgiveness and we take accountability, because it's not just about letting it go, it's about making things right when you make a mistake. And then you can release it and be okay with yourself, and then you can let them, let them do whatever, because it's not pushing your buttons anymore, because it's not about you.
Right. Okay, so reflection. Forgiveness is freedom. We do not change the past. We change our relationship with it. Today I choose peace over resentment. I think that was it.
That's it. All right.
Yeah.
You still need the mic.
Yeah, okay, I have it here. We do our little exercise. I've been holding it for so long, it's like, okay. So if you have a pain or a discomfort, it's try connecting that first. Connect that to whatever it is that you want to release. So write down one thing that you would like to release now. Okay, so it's better if you use your dominant hand. If you're right-handed, use your right hand. If you're left-handed, use your left hand. And the first thing is we said to acknowledge. So you make a fist and you acknowledge whatever it is. Then you turn your hand and you visualize, because visualizing also helps. Visualize whatever it is that you want to release or forgive. And then you open your hand and I release it. So it's, I acknowledge, you could say this mentally, you could say it out loud. I acknowledge that blah, blah, blah. I need to forgive blah, 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 or the pain in my, or you associate it with the pain in my neck is blah, blah, blah. I forgive it and I release it. So acknowledge, forgive, release. Okay? And sometimes people need to do it 10 times, 20 times. You do it until you get to the point where there's no emotion attached to the act. So you're thinking of whatever it is, and it's neutralized. There's no longer any emotion. And then the next step would be bringing in love. So there are two fundamental elements that create. One is fear, and the other one is love. And if you connect it to love, you're going to create something positive for yourself. If you connect it to fear, obviously it's going to go the other way. It's going to be negative. So I acknowledge, I forgive, and I release. When you forgive, try to also bring the emotion of love when you forgive, and then release. Okay? That's one. And the other thing has to do with tapping. So if everybody puts their feet down, sit straight. Okay, so you have to, in order, and this is for the subconscious mind, you have to connect it to the negative, connect it to a positive. So whatever the negative emotion or the negative feeling that you have, you're going to tap on this hand, and then, yeah, I'm right-handed. It's the same. If whatever your predominant hand is, you're going to use it to tap, okay? So first you go with the negative. You tap the first knuckle with the negative. Then you're going to think of a positive experience to connect it to. So if it's, the love of your child, the love of your pet, whatever it is, something that you could attach with love, the second knuckle is going to be tapped with the positive thought. And then you're going to tap the 2 with the negative. You're connecting it. On a subconscious level, you're connecting it, even though you're doing something physical. So you're tapping the 2 of them. And then you tap, so you did the negative for the 2. That means you're establishing that connection. And then you tap the first one with the positive again. So you just reversed it. Subconsciously, you reverse the act with the thought. So negative, positive, negative, and positive. Got it? Those are my little tricks. All right.
Thank you, Theresa. I hadn't heard that one before. I've done lots of other things for unforgiveness and anger, but not the tapping thing, so that's a new one. Yeah, but certainly anything that gets you out of your head and into your body, right? Go run, go hit something, go listen to some music, go out Silver Springs and rent a canoe. All right, thank you so much, Theresa. Appreciate you. And Theresa is also an author. Yes, she's an author. Her book is over here. It is called Autobiography of a Medium. So she is an intuitive healer and a medium as well. So let's see, anything else? All right, I think, let's see where the clicker is here. So thanks again. This is a moment for us to share our abundance. We don't put a price on these things. You know, people give from their heart and what value they feel like they get from the experience. So the baskets are going around, Aaron and Pam. There is also prayer requests in one of those baskets. If there's something going on in your life that you would like a little extra prayer support, myself and our practitioners and Reverend Peggy pray over these, and we hold that truth and consciousness for you, that whatever that blockage is, whatever that challenge is that you're dealing with, that it is dissipated and eliminated, and that you gain whatever gift, whatever strength, whatever nugget of wisdom there is for you in whatever that experience is. So we are continually, as Theresa said, growing and learning and expanding, because that's what we're here to do. And those are the prayer requests, yes. Okay, so we'll say our affirmation together if you're up for it. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful. I always like to say that part again. Let's do that. And this time say it like you mean it and know the truth. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful. Yes, thank you. Awesome. Love that. All right, so ways to give. You can give online. You can give at our little giving kiosk. You can scan that code. There's lots of ways that we will accept money. We like it. We like it. It's good. It helps keep the lights on. It helps keep things going. So when you program that phone number into your phone, your smartphone, you can just send the amount. So you put in 20, 200, 2,000, whatever it is you want to give us, and then you hit send, and it goes right from your account to ours. So thank you so much. Let's see, blessing our children. She's been blessed, and she's been blessing us all, all morning. So yeah, and you know, we all have a child within us. I love how she reminds us of our innocence and how we all come into this world.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, oh let it shine, shine, every day. Shine, shine, you know you want to. Shine, shine, all around the world. Yes. Shine, shine,
Yes. You know, I don't know about you, but I came up in a time where children were seen and not heard. Like you had to be really quiet, right? In the back someplace, right? What a difference it would have been to be seen, right? And to be heard and to be acknowledged as a little person. I love that. So let that bless you inside and rub your hands together. And we're going to send love to all the children here and inside of us that are still here. We say, we honor you. We see your light. May it shine on all that you do. And so it is, and so it is. Yes. Awesome. Yay! All right, let me see. Is there anything else? Any other announcements? Anything else we need to know today before we leave? Any other announcements? Anything else? Famous last words. Oh, yeah. We watched, Grady and I watched a show the other night on Netflix, and it's a series, I guess. I've only seen 2 of them, where the interviewer is talking to people at the end of their lives, and the interview is done and it doesn't show until they're gone. And so they did just Jane Goodall, that one was amazing, and Eric Dane. And really a lot of wisdom, and just kind of keeping it in the front of us, you know, that our time here is limited, right? So we want to make the best of it. So don't be holding on to stuff that doesn't serve you. don't hold resentments and anger and all of that stuff, because it's just, I mean, life is too short for all of that, right? And we want to live our very best. So that we can hold one another in that affirmation, right? That we're all living the best lives that we can. And so thank you for holding me accountable for things, and I'm going to hold y'all accountable too. All right? All right, so we say our blessing together. Spirit lives, moves, and breathes as us in a wise and loving universe. We go forth guided, protected, and free, trusting love, trusting life, knowing all is unfolding perfectly. And so it is. And so it is. Have a fabulous, fabulous week, everyone. Next week is a sound bath with Donna and Norma, right? Yeah, for service. That's what we're doing. So dress comfortably, bring a yoga mat if you want to, or you can sit in a chair, but it's going to be just an experience to, our first, I didn't share this with you all for our newcomers. Our first week, we do spiritual practices. So it's always something interactive. We don't talk about conscious breathing, we're going to do it. We don't talk about meditation, we do it. So next week is a sound bath. So come, as I said, ready to enjoy that. The second week of the month is the most traditional. It's a talk, and and you all get to sit and just listen, and there's music. Third Sunday is our circle conversations, where we take the topic, give a small overview, and break out into small groups. And then fourth Sunday, we usually invite someone or something that is building our community, so we can know who's who in our community and what people's different modalities are, and how we can grow as community with intention, how we make our decisions, how we work through problems, all of that good stuff. So that's kind of a snapshot of our month. And so actually, I won't be here next week, but enjoy the sound bath, and I will be back on the 7th with John Moore and Amy Steinberg. See you this week. Have a great week, everybody. And thank you, Theresa, again.